Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name, as always, is Bloodstained Wings, and today I'm going to paint a Patreon reward painting. That's right. This little guy here is named Suki, and they are an adventure cat. And I was just really inspired by how this cat goes on adventures all the time. I did change it up a little bit from the actual reference images, but I will leave the references below so that you guys can also enjoy Suki the adventure cat. This is a Patreon reward painting. It is not for sale. It is a request for one of my Patreons to give to somebody else, so I worked extra hard to make it extra good, so I'm sorry if this video is a little bit long, but thank you so much for watching it, and let's get to painting. P.S. If you're going to paint along, have a reference available, and also do a gesso painting underneath so that you know where the cat is, how a cat is, all the spots on a cat, if you are doing a spotted cat, you know, face shape, those kind of things, shading. Do that all ahead of time with the gesso so that this painting is much easier to accomplish. Just a heads up that I absolutely did that. Okay, let's paint. So as you can tell, we are going to be starting this painting with a gesso underpainting. I am going to be, as I explained in the intro, doing a Patreon painting reward. So this painting is not available for purchase, but I am painting this painting for my Patreon supporter off stream. I usually paint my Patreon rewards on stream. But this one has a time restraint. I need to get it done so it can dry fully so that they can take it and then deliver it to who they want to give it to. So, complicated process. This is actually an adventure cat. Adventure cat! Their name is Suki. And the cat's name, you can follow them on Instagram. I did. Yeah, you can go ahead and find them and follow them. I love this cat. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I think that it's really, really pretty, and I'm really excited to be able to paint said kitty. But first, before we paint the kitty, we need to paint the sky. And before we can paint the sky, we need to paint the whole thing white. So I'm gonna get in with some white, some titanium white, and get in here and paint the sky white. And then after we paint the sky white, we can then paint it blue, and it won't be overwhelmingly blue, which is the idea behind this, is that it's not going to be overwhelmingly blue. Because if it is overwhelmingly blue, then we did it wrong, and that's bad. We don't want that. Now, titanium white is not a translucent color. It is very opaque. So if you are going over, like, for example, the tail here, be sure it is very thin in that area, so that, or like over top of the cat's face and stuff like that. You want to make sure that you still maintain the underpainting, so make sure it is very thin. And this is a good way to practice getting your paint thin on your canvas and making sure that it is the right consistency. As I move my entire canvas all the way around. All right, excellent. We now have a beautiful undercoat painting. And now, I'm going to take this brush. I'm going to take this brush. We want just like a very gentle blue hue to our sky here. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the sap green and get us a color that I could have gotten out of a tube, but that's fine. I want it to be slightly more blue than that, which I could have also mixed freely without having to, and it's fine. So basically, I'm getting this blue to be a little bit greenish, but still very mostly blue. Now you can see I did put titanium white on my canvas, but it's picking it up as we go along here, and as a result, it is making this whole thing get a little lighter as we get further away from the edges, which is what we want. So as we get away from the edges, we want it to pick up the white and then slowly but surely get a lighter color of blue, which is good. I am now going to use the big brush that we did everything with, and I'm going to go right into the corner up here, and I'm just going to start actually blending that out. I don't want to apply any more blue to this. It's already very blue. So I'm going to try to blend that out. as best I can with some crisscross strokes. Crisscross strokes. And that'll help to, I don't know, make it look more sky-like. It makes it look more windswept, I think is what it actually is, the effect that happens. Windswept. And then we'll just gently go across, blend that whole thing down. There we go. Now we have a nice, soft blue sky. It is very soft and very blue. And that's what we're looking for. Just something nice and soft and delicate. Nothing too complicated in our sky. We're going to have a nice mountain happen in the background. I don't know where this is taking place because I didn't do enough research to be able to tell you that. But I'm sure that it exists in a location. Using some more of that green-blue mixture, I'm going to add a little more green to it to get it a little bit more in the actually Viridian hue, and I could have just used Viridian hue the entire time. I'm going to mix a little bit more white into it, just to make sure that it is actually the color I want it to be. Yes, and then we're going to come across and add this to the water area, keeping our brush as horizontal as possible. That's the idea. Keep your brush horizontal, because that's the way that water exists. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but water likes to be horizontal. I say I don't know if you know this or not because, oh boy, you meet all kinds of people on the internet, and let me tell you, I remember I was watching it was one of these like sustainability, live off the grid things, and she was like, things people don't tell you about living off grid. Nobody tells you that water runs downhill, and you're like, yeah, you're supposed to know that. Why don't you know that? And I was just like, oh my goodness. Okay, great. What a wonderful video this is. I thought it was very funny. Alright, I'm gonna blend that again, keeping the horizontal effects though. I'm just gonna, there we go. Yes, nice, soft, supple, beautiful. I'm gonna add a little more white to it to brighten it up a bit. So it just has like a little bit more soft and turquoise to it. There we go. Okay, so now we get to do the fun bit. Well, first we can do some clouds in the sky, I guess. Let's do some clouds in the sky. Why not? Why not have some happy little clouds? And get some white on my brush, and I think what I'm gonna do is build like a really like big cloud. I don't usually build big clouds, but I think that's what I want to do for this. I want to have like a really big cloud, and I want it to be like the anvil style. Although realistically the bottom of this is going to be a mountain, but you know, we know that it's a big anvil style. Cumulonimbus, perhaps? It has been a long time since I have studied the geography to be able to tell you what kind of clouds are what. I will admit that. I'll be the first to admit that it's been a long time since I've studied geography enough to be able to tell you what kind of cloud something is. But the big anvil style clouds, they're a thing. Oh, yes. Oh, that's looking exactly the way I wanted it to look, which is great. Yes, okay, excellent. Giant cloud, check. Mountain time. So, I'm gonna go for hopefully a grayish type of brown. I'm gonna achieve that by adding some white to my brown and then adding a little bit of black And once we add all of that together, we should have a nice dark brown kind of base color. Now I am mixing this pretty heavily, so it's not going to be, it's going to be like one tone. And then when we add the white to it later, it'll be more variegated, and that's for like the highlights and stuff like that. I didn't want it to be fully black, and I didn't want it to be like fully brown. I wanted it to be like kind of more gray. It is definitely not gray enough. There we go, that's much more gray. We're looking for like a gray brown, essentially. So I've got a nice gray brown going on now. And I'm gonna get a nice roll of paint on the end of my knife. Roll of paint on the end of my knife. And come in and put mountain. So this has got like this kind of feel to it. Like that. Where it's like kind of flat up there and then angled out. That's words. Like that. And this one comes up like real sharp like that. And then just kind of like that over there. And then on this side, it kind of does this. All right, good, good. And then this comes down like that. And then this with its like sharp edge on this side. And then there's like a little bit of doots over here. Doot, doot, doot. All right. With that, there we go. We can pull out the extra that's there and then blend that out. So I'm gonna do that very gently over here. I'm just pulling out the excess to be able to fill in the gaps here, essentially. And then this comes in like this. And it also helps me to like plan out where these mountains do what. See how you can kind of see my lines? That helps me to plan out where I'm going to be putting my highlights and my lowlights and the shape of this mountain in general. And we can change the shape of things by doing things like that. So yeah, I can just wiggle that right in there and have a little thing there, and this comes in over the top like that. And again, you want to be very careful near your drawing here. Be careful of that. You have been warned. Don't blame me if you're like, yeah, it's all gone now, what do I do? Well, you're gonna have to learn how to do the drawing again. That's what you're gonna have to do. Me, however, I saved that, so I'm good. I am now gonna take a different brush, and I'm just really gonna fluff out just the edges of it. Getting as close as I can to see Suki, that was the cat's name. Suki! I was like, Decima? No, Suki. There we go. And that's also going to help to just diffuse the edges. Although I'm going to put trees in front of it, so really, it doesn't matter that much. But, mountain. Mountain base layer 1. Excellent. Okay, let's add some like dramatic highlights and lowlights and stuff like that. All right. Let's get that low light. There we go. Where's the light coming from? The light's coming from here. So we want this side to be the highlight and this side to be in shadow. Okay, shadow color going on. Yeah. We want this to be pretty dramatic and it's like little existence here. Because this is like a sharp cliff on this side. You can see, yeah, that definitely already looks like a sharp cliff ahead, which is great. That's what we want. And we want this one to do much the same. Just trying to come in here, sneak in that little bit right there. There we go. So those are our lowlights, and now we get to do our highlights. And that's going to be basically pure white. This mountain does not already look like the reference picture, but the reference is what I said, not wefwence. I promise you I said reference. It's totally not audio to supplement your argument in which I said wefwence, but you know, we all say things, do things a little different. It's fine. Okay, so basically pure white, making sure we have a nice roll of paint. Come in here, do our background one first, do a nice little highlight. And the highlight's going to be much sharper. Woo. Yeah, looking good. Now I'm leaving this place dark on purpose. I'm going to be putting dark evergreen trees there, so it does not need to have the delicate highlights. The delicate highlights. That's what we're putting on right now. Delicate highlights. Don't scratch your painting with your fingernails. In fact, highly recommend. Probably should trim your fingernails before you start using a palette knife, but yeah. Preparing for things. Ah. There we go. Remember that if you're doing a mountain, if this is your first mountain, you want to be exceptionally delicate in the way that you are doing this. You want this knife to glide over the canvas, just barely touching, so that way you get all of these lovely instances happening where things are dynamic and interesting, and the paint is breaking, and you want all that kind of stuff to happen naturally. And so, if you're doing this, you want to make sure you're very, very delicate with your palette knife. I just didn't like the shape of that, so I'm gonna adjust the shape of that a little bit. It looks too flat, and I don't like that. I'm just gonna come in here and change its shape a little bit. Yeah, see how it like comes a little bit more that way? I like that a little bit. There, that's better. That's much better. It needed like an aggressive little dip like this guy's got over here. Just to pull everything more together. Make it look more, yeah. And then this dark side looks really, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Excellent. We have achieved mountain. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, I am back. Sorry if there is adjustments on everything. Snowy, my cat, not this cat, my cat, decided that it was time for him to eat garbage, even though I just literally fed him. Oh, this boy. He gives me all kinds of heartaches. All right, going in, actually, I think I'm going to use this paintbrush. I think I'm going to use this fan brush. It's a little thicker. And so I end up getting a little bit different shapes to my pine trees. And now what we're going to do, we're going to stab downwards with our fan brush. All the paint's up here. All right, let's put some pine trees in. If you find your pine trees are not sticking to the canvas, like mine are not sticking to the canvas, all you need is a little more goop. And that's fine. Just going to grab a little goop, pull it out of my container here, and then find out which side is the right side. There it is, it's that side. You don't want to grab too much goop, you just want to grab a little bit. And that way, there we go. Now you can see it exists. We just needed a little more goop for it to hold on to anything. Come in here and add a little bit more of these guys. We actually want these to be way up higher, and I did not realize that. I want them to be like way up here. That's okay. Come in and grab some more paint. Be very delicate around our kitty. There we go. Starting to take shape. Got ourselves almost an entire forest already. Now I'm just gonna have like a little bit coming down over here. Like so. Have a little like almost grass feature at the side there, at the end, at the bottom. There we go. Just a little to really grass it out a little. Yeah. Oh, looking snazzy already. All right, I think that these trees need a little highlight. So I'm gonna get a little more goop, go into my yellow ochre. The yellow ochre is going to mix with the green as we go, so don't worry about it. And we're just gonna come in and like pick out a few trees that I think should have little highlights on them. And just pop in a light highlight. You can't see anything at all. Maybe if I add a little white to it, maybe you'll be able to see it. Let's see if we can pick out this one. To do trees, I'm just using my fan brush, as you can see here, and basically zigzagging it down very gently. There, you can see that one. That one exists. There we go. Put one over here. Nice big one. There we go. Little trees, little trees. Add a little more yellow ochre to it. A little less of the white. The idea is to pick out some trees that just get a little bit more highlighted than any of the other trees. And if some of them you don't like, you just clump 2 or 3 of them together and it'll solve your problem. There you go. See? Just to add little bits of flavor. The idea is that the more little bits of detail that you add in the background, the more depth you have in the whole thing. So it's good to add just a little bit here and there to like really make the world feel more alive. Just add another one in there. That tree ended up being kind of big for one tree, so we'll make it 2. Yeah. And this just brings out just a little bit more life and livelihood and color. Add a little sap green to it. I'm going to get it to be a little bit darker. And that's the idea, is that you can just play with these colors a little bit. Make them a little bit more what you want them to be. These trees are just a little bit further away, so they're harder to see. Using this lighter green color, I'm going to come in here and add a little bit of one over here. See, so you can just play with the colors back and forth, get a little bit more texture, diversity, those kind of things in there. Yeah, a little tree right there. All right, enough of the tiny, tiny doings of the trees, right? Now, one more thing we want to do in the background before we move on to our kitty here. I'm going to take a little bit of the goop with a little bit of white. I'm just going to mix it, and I'm going to cut off a little roll of it and come in here and add a little water line. So that there's a little water line, because I find that that helps to make everything that is water look more watery. Now you guys can't really see it, but trust me that it's there. I'm just gonna add another one through here and continue it on this side of our little kitty. Okay, we now have a line. Excellent. Now, our kitty. I want to try to make this as thin as possible, and I want to make it, I don't know if I want to use yellow ochre or if I want to use brown. So I want brown for the brown bits and then yellow ochre for the yellow bits. Okay, let's just go with the yellow ochre. So I'm mixing a bit of yellow ochre with a little bit of the painting medium, just so that it flows better. Coming in here. And I'm also mixing it so that it ends up being thin. The thinner it is, the easier it is for my gesso layer to be visible underneath, which is really important, because otherwise I'm not going to know what I'm painting. I'm not exactly the best at just being like, I can wing it, and there's a cat. I need the underpainting, which is part of the reason why I do the underpainting. I think I explained this in my gesso painting video. I can say words. In which I talk about why I use gesso and how I use gesso. There are lots of ways to use gesso. One of them is this way, in which you get the details, and the other way is to imply a time of day, like nighttime. Things are darker at night, and therefore using the gesso to paint everything black first makes it just appear like everything appears darker because it's started on black. And a lot of the oil paints are fairly transparent. And if not fairly, you can either make them more transparent or they're just as is very transparent. So yellow ochre, however, is one of the colors that is not transparent. It is not a transparent color. So as a result of it not being transparent, I am mixing it with the goop to make it more transparent, because I'm thinning down the paint essentially with my painting medium. All right, almost there. There we go. Now we have a base layer of yellow ochre on our kitty. I am going to come back and fill in this part here, but I'm going to use this brush, which means I want to wait. So I'm going to go in now with a little bit of goop and a little bit of the brown. This is burnt umber. I had to check. I was like, I don't remember what brown this is. So this is burnt umber. And I'm just going to come in and add the brown to all the pieces that get the brown. And this tail is just a little fluffy, so we're just going to fluff it a little bit over top of the water. Fluff. Just going to add little fluffs. There we go. This might take me a while. I will admit, this might take me a while. I'm not above admitting that. We're just gonna add some fluff, add some brown, but it's already starting to look much more like that cat. But the gesso layer underneath helps me to know where I'm putting what color, which really helps. I do have the reference picture up as well, but I find that having the underpainting really just solidifies that kind of detail. When you have to do a lot of detail, it helps to have the gesso underpainting so that you know what goes where. There we go. And there's a little right over there. And right over there. I'm gonna use another brush. Just really want to blend that out. There we go. Yeah, so there's gonna be a lot of me just doing tiny details. While I do that, why don't I talk about things? What to talk about? Work's been going good. Streams have been going great. I've been having so much fun streaming. Really, if you guys want to join me on Twitch, please feel free to do so. I stream on Mondays mostly, and Tuesdays I do video games, which is about the only time that I have to play video games. So it's nice to be able to have like a scheduled time to play video games. I don't know if you guys schedule time for video games. I don't know how your adult life works, but my adult life works that I have to schedule time for video games. Classy. But as a result of having streams, I regularly have time to play video games, which is awesome because otherwise I would not. And I like playing video games. We're currently playing Wind Waker, which is such a fun game. I cannot tell you how much fun I'm having with that game. You'll just have to come to the stream and find out. But yeah, I'm really enjoying playing that one. I also got a new copy of Twilight Princess recently, and so I'll be able to play that one on stream. Twilight Princess is the one that comes after Wind Waker. I don't know if that's the next game I'm going to play. I think I'm actually going to play Link's Awakening next, which is fine. Little cat designs. I actually put a lot of effort into these to make sure that they looked fairly realistic to the actual cat. Necessary? No. But did I want to? Absolutely I did. I was like, I want this to look like the cat. So I put a lot of extra effort where it was completely unnecessary to make sure that the markings on this cat look like the markings that are actually on the cat in real life. Completely unnecessary. Nobody cares. Because this, like, it's not like I'm giving this to the YouTuber who's... YouTuber? I don't know if they're a YouTuber. They're definitely on Instagram. But it's not like I'm giving it to them. I just was like, I want to paint your cat because it's pretty. Please forgive me. Because this is actually a piece that is going to a little girl who likes cats and adventures. So, you know, what better way to enjoy that than with a painting? Let's lighten up those ears. Okay, let's try that with the other brush. Clean that off of the brown. All right, go in with the white. There we go. Much more visible. All right. You guys still can't see it, but that's not the important part. I'm gonna come in with a little bit of highlights on this guy over here, a little bit around the mouth to give it that I have a muzzle face look that cats have. You know how they have like the front part is all white. Yeah, looking good. Looking good. With a bit of a highlight on this side. These are very gentle, but that's okay. There we go. Just need a little more oomph in the ears. There we go. And we need a very light teal color that matches the water for the eyes. This cat is just so beautiful. Don't know if I mentioned, I definitely did mention that this is Suki, the adventure cat. Adventure cat! Whom you can follow on all the things, probably. You know, I'll put a link. Thank you, Suki, for your inspiration. I'm gonna actually mix this so that it is a real color here. Okay, that's the color I want it to be. Now, can I pick that up with my paintbrush? There's a question. Yeah. Okay, eyeball. Oh, the shaky hands. Oh, the shaky hands. Yeah, oh geez. Okay, whew. Eyeballs are in. We need to add a little bit of black to do the little, you know, dot line eye thing that they have. And don't breathe. Okay, it didn't work. We're gonna try it again, and don't breathe. Okay, thank you for not breathing. It totally worked that time. I appreciate that. All right. Do this. Do the little mouth. Mouth. All right. You know what else we need? We need a pink for the nose. Oh, I totally forgot. Red. We just need like the smidgiest smidgen. I don't need a whole bunch. I gotta make it pink. Make it pink. All right. Pink for the nose. There we go. Pink nose. Excellent. Details that nobody can see. Check. Should we do whiskers? Obviously we should do whiskers. But before we do the whiskers, let me come in with this brush and go into that sap green. And just come in here and very closely try to paint in the background bushes very closely to Suki. Back in. There's a dark color here. And I'm just like stabbing the canvas here Very gentle stabs. And that helps to keep with the overall impressionist kind of way that the background is. There we go. Suki is now fully incorporated. All right, now let's paint those whiskers. Let's paint those whiskers. I'm gonna grab some fresh goop that has not touched any colors. Go into some white that has also not touched any colors. All right, we're just gonna come in and do like some whiskers. Well, it looks really good on one side, and the other side doesn't look good. I'm gonna come in with a little bit more pink to fix the nose. There we go, fix the nose. That's good. Maybe blend out some of this so it is less existing. Can you exist less? There we go, got it. It now exists much less, which is important. Okay, great. Now I get to decide if I want this to actually be a boat or if I want it to be a rock, which would be much easier to paint. I have a lot of the brown left over, so I'm gonna paint it a rock because rocks are easier to paint. So let's make it a rock. All right. Making a rock for the cat to sit on. Rock. There we go, see? Make this a big old rock. There we go. All right, and just like our mountain, we're gonna pull out the excess color here to fill in the gaps. Fill in the gap. There we go. There we go, nice big old rock, perfect. Now we just need a little bit of white mixed in with a little bit of our shading color here, and we're gonna come in and do the shades first. And then pull straight down to give it that it's a rock edge kind of feel. Come in and give a little shading under here. And under here, very gently. And then with some almost pure white, you come in and do a highlight, maybe like over here. So that rock is highlighted like that. There we go. You have to kind of decide how you want your rocks to be shaped. Come in here. Highlight this rock like this. Highlight this rock like that. I'm just gonna pull straight down to give it that like sharp edge of a rock kind of feel. And then I'm just gonna put a little one out front here. Yeah, so it looks like the cat like jumped here, then jumped here, and then was like, what? And you were like, chink, at the perfect time to get that cat looking so adorbs. Wow, so this is intense. This is an intense painting. I did not realize it was gonna be so intense of a painting, but I really enjoy it. I hope you guys do too. Because this was lots of fun. It did take me a long time to do it. I'm sorry it took me so long. But I think it was worth waiting for. So thank you so much to everyone for watching this painting, and especially thank you to my Patreons for always supporting me. As usual, I very much appreciate your entire existence. I don't make a lot of posts on Patreon right now, other than just specifically the arts, but I used to make a lot more posts on there. I'm gonna try to see if I can get some more posts on there of in-progress shots of things, and I hope you guys really enjoyed this painting of Suki, the adventure cat. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate that. Once again, I super appreciate all of my Patreons and everyone who is subscribed to this channel for watching and enjoying. If you guys would like to see more content, please feel free to click on any of the links that you see appearing before you. And also links in the description to all the more things for you to enjoy. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Please know that you are loved, you deserve to be loved, and I'll see you next week. Mwah!